Hello children. Hi. Today we are going to discuss the different types of activities. Through those activities we are going to learn different types of reactions which I have mentioned in the previous session. That is combination reaction or addition reaction. Second one is decomposition reaction. Third one is displacement, and the fourth one is double displacement reaction. So these are the things these are the types of reactions which I have told in the previous session. Now through activities, by performing some activities, we shall try to understand these particular types of reactions. So the activity number 1 goes like this, where the reaction happens between quicklime when it is mixed with water. It gives out calcium hydroxide, that is slaked lime. So this is the first reaction which we are going to discuss today from activity 1 of chapter 2, which is mentioned in your textbook. Try to go through textbooks after my discussion of the lesson. Quicklime. What exactly do you mean by quicklime? Calcium oxide. Calcium oxide, when it gets reacted with water, calcium oxide reacts with water, it gives out calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide. This is calcium oxide, which is also called as quicklime. At the same time, this is water, and this is calcium hydroxide. Otherwise, this is called as slaked lime. So here if you see two different compounds like water and calcium oxide, they both are combined to give out calcium hydroxide. From this we can try to understand some important information. That is, combination of these two compounds are resulting in one compound. These kind of reactions are called as combination reactions. So now I hope you would have understood what is combination reaction. When compound A reacts with compound B, it gives out entirely a new compound, single compound, that is C. This is what combination reaction is. Two or more compounds, they react to form one single compound, then such kind of reactions are called as combination reactions. In this, there is one more important interpretation which we have to do while performing this activity. They make 100 ml of this calcium oxide plus water solution. Means you will take 100 ml of water where the 10 grams of calcium oxide will be mixed in this. Purely water of 100 ml would be taken, and in that they would mix calcium oxide of 10 grams, which result in the solution of calcium hydroxide. While performing this activity in a conical flask, we perform this particular activity in a conical flask where this reaction takes place. This is type of what we say glassware which we use to perform this particular activity, that is called as conical flask. In this conical flask, after performing this particular reaction, carrying out this reaction, if you touch this beaker, you will experience some kind of hotness. This is what is called as exothermic reaction. What does the reaction say? It is exothermic reaction. When the reaction liberates out some kind of heat energy or energy, then such kind of reactions are called as exothermic reactions. Thermic is nothing but heat. Thermos, flask, thermometer. The term therm indicates some kind of heat. Exothermic, remember the term exo in science means which is exiting out, which is coming out, which is liberating, which is released. Such kind of things would be I mean fixed with this kind of suffixes exothermic, the reaction where the energy is liberated out. Such kind of reactions are exothermic reactions. Here if you observe, this reaction has liberated some kind of energy. So this energy liberation reactions are called as exothermic reactions. So I have told you two important interpretations from this particular reaction which has happened. That is, it's a reaction which indicates one of the types of reactions which we have discussed in the previous session, that is combination reaction, and second to that it's an exothermic reaction. And now I am going to say one more important interpretation from this particular reaction or equation. What it is after performing this activity, you would have one important, what we say, observation by using a paper called litmus paper. Let me say that paper as litmus paper. This clearly it will be discussed in the next chapter, that is acids, bases and salts. But right now you try to remember, we are going to use a paper called litmus paper. So what exactly is this litmus paper? Litmus paper has two colors. Two types of litmus papers would exist. One of such kind is red and other one is blue. So what exactly happens is, here you have to use both the kinds of litmus paper. Red litmus paper and blue litmus paper. So what exactly is this red litmus paper do? When this red litmus paper is taken and dipped in the solution, see, you take this solution in a watch glass, you take this bit of solution, a small amount of this solution in a watch glass. There will be a glass which you will take to test or something. So okay, or else you can consider a petri dish also. You can consider a petri dish. Petri dish is a dish very, what we say, it will have small walls around it. It will be in a circular shape, and in that you can use this solution. You take the solution in this petri dish. In this petri dish you fill the solution to some extent. Now you take this red litmus paper with the help of tongs, with the help of forceps, let me say as forceps. So you have stirred some amount, small piece of this red litmus paper, and what you have did was, you have dipped this red litmus paper into this solution. Immediately this red litmus paper would turn into blue litmus. Remember, red litmus paper would turn into blue. It changes its color to blue. Whereas when you dip the blue litmus paper in this, there won't be any change. Blue will remain same. There won't be any change with the blue litmus paper. Whereas the red litmus paper gets transformed into blue color, indicating indicating the nature of the solution, that is whether it is acidic or basic. Try to remember, when red litmus paper turns into blue litmus paper, then you can say that that solution is basic solution. What is a base? What is an acid? How can you say different types of solutions? On which basis you will classify these solutions? All these we are going to discuss in the next chapter of your physical sciences, that is acids, bases and salts. Right now you just concentrate from this reaction. I wanted to say three important observations. One, initially we have told, that is combination reaction. Second to that, I already told you, that is exothermic reaction which liberates energy. And third one, the solution formed is a basic solution. This is what you can interpret out of this particular activity 1. So by learning this activity 1, what is happening is, you are getting to know what is combination reaction. Next I am going to discuss one of the most important types of reactions, that is double displacement reaction. It is very interesting reaction. We shall try to see what exactly happens in the double displacement reaction. So now you see, this is activity 2 of your textbook. In the lesson 2, if you go through the lesson 2 of your textbook, there will be activity 2 which discusses about double displacement reaction. Children, don't forget to write notes while listening to the class, because writing notes will keep you attentive in the class. While listening to the class, don't get disturbed again and again. You try to focus upon entire lecture at once, try to complete entire lecture at once, then you try to take a break. Okay, so that will ensure that it gives a feeling that you are in a classroom. So try to be, in such a way that you create an environment to listen the class completely, right, while you listen. Okay, this is very important thing which you have to do while listening to the online classes. This is activity 2 which we are going to discuss now. One of the most important reaction, that is double displacement reaction, which we are going to discuss now. In activity 2, first of all, we have to make 2 different solutions. One, it is sodium sulfate, other it is barium chloride. It's very easy, Nana. If you know the ions which were discussed in class 9 of your physical sciences, if you remember that, you can write these names of the compounds very easily by using crisscross method. So try to go through the page number 111 in your physical science of class 9 state syllabus. Okay, now you see, I have told you have to make solutions of different compounds, that is sodium sulfate Na2SO4. Next to that, this is sodium sulfate. Next to this, you are going to learn how to prepare. See, it's very easy. Sodium sulfate and barium chlorides are salts basically. So BaCl2, this is barium chloride. These are compounds, okay, which are formed by using their respective ions Na plus 1, SO4 minus 2, Ba plus 2, Cl minus 1. So these are the 2 salts which we are going to consider to carry out this activity number 2. So what we'll do, we have to take a conical flask like this. We have to consider a conical flask. In this conical flask, try to take 100 ml of water. In the same way, here also you try to consider 100 ml of water. In this 100 ml of water, what you have to do, you take a small amount of sodium sulfate and small amount of barium chloride, and you just start mixing them. You mix both of the solutions such that a neat solution, a particleless solution would be formed, because they are salts. Okay, these solutions are mixed thoroughly in individual flasks, and next you try to consider a 250 ml conical flask which is bigger than them. The conical flask, and what you do, you take this entire solution into this flask, and you take this entire solution into this flask, and you start mixing them. Mix them thoroughly by shaking the conical flask, or you use a glass rod, whatever. You mix this solution perfectly such that there will be a reaction which happens between these two solutions, sodium chloride solution and sodium sulfate solution and barium chloride solution. So shall we write the reaction, what is happening with these two solutions? That is very important reaction. That's what I told you. What do you mean by reaction? What do you mean by chemical equation? A symbolic representation of a chemical reaction is nothing but equation. That is what we are going to write, the chemical equation. I am representing this particular reaction not in the form of words, in a symbolic representation. That is Na2SO4. Remember, Na2SO4 is basically a salt, means it will be present in a crystal state. So you can't directly take two crystals and make them react. In order to make them react, you have to bring them into the state of aqueous solution. So you are mixing this particular salt with the water, so you have to write it's an aqueous solution. Unlike a solid, it is presenting in a liquid state. Actually, the state of this sodium sulfate is solid. But in order to make this particular compound react with barium chloride, you are turning it into a liquid solution by dissolving in the water. So you are mentioning that particular state of the solid which is mixed in the water as aqueous state. Now, along with this, you are taking barium chloride solution. It is also same case. Like sodium sulfate, you are also getting this barium chloride into the aqueous state. That is the reason I am mentioning aqueous over here. Same way. Whereas in the previous reaction, calcium oxide, the quicklime which we have taken, it's a solid dissolved in the water. Water you have to mention in a liquid state. That is why you will write L at the suffix. Like this, in the case of water, you will write L because the base nature of the water itself is liquid. That is why you will write L. Now you see, I have told you this particular reaction shows one of the most important phenomena of the types of reactions which we have discussed in the previous session. That phenomena is just displacing the radicals. You see, sodium and sulfate are two different radicals, barium and chlorine are two different radicals. Here two radicals gets displaced. Remember, here the two radicals gets displaced from their places. Sodium will get combined with this chlorine because the chlorine will move and react with sulfate. So it forms 2NaCl. Chlorine has moved here, and at the same time this radical sulfate will move from sodium sulfate and gets attached to the barium, forming barium sulfate, BaSO4. Remember, this kind of reaction, when two radicals move from their places and ensures that the reaction is taking place, then such kind of reaction is called as double displacement reaction. Displacing means removing something and placing some other thing in that place. That is called displacing. So here two radicals displaced their places by some other radicals. That is the reason this particular reaction is called as double displacement reaction. Remember, double displacement reaction. Here I am going to say one important thing to you all. Maybe you might have forgotten the formation of compounds using crisscross method. So I will teach you that also. This type of reaction is called as double displacement. At the same time, listen, you have to interpret one more thing from this reaction. Not only double displacement reaction, this reaction shows one more important phenomena, that is formation of precipitate. It is undissolved part in the solution. When you mix these two solutions in a conical flask, you will see some undissolved material which is accumulating at the bottom of the beaker. Like this, there will be some undissolved material which is accumulating at the bottom. Such kind of undissolved material which is not getting dissolved, such kind of material is called as precipitate. So when there is a formation of precipitate, you would give a downward arrow like this, indicating the precipitate formation. Here if you see, a white color precipitate would be formed, that is of barium sulfate. Whereas sodium chloride will exist in the dissolved state. Sodium chloride will be within the water only. Sodium chloride will exist within the water only. So such kind of reactions, such kind of entities are not indicated as precipitate, simply as aqueous. So here you have learnt one more new thing. What is precipitate? Precipitate is a compound which exists in the undissolved state after reaction has happened. Okay, so these are the two important observations, two important things you have to learn from the activity 2. In activity 2, you got to know what is double displacement reaction, and at the same time what is a precipitate which is formed in the reaction. So overall you have learned two types of reactions now, that is double displacement reaction, and the first one is combination reaction. Now we are going to learn third activity, which is very important activity. It repeats again in your next chapter, that is acids, bases, salts. In acids, bases, salts also you are going to see this reaction. This reaction also gives some information. We shall see what does exactly the information he tells us. What exactly we are going to learn from this activity 3. So I hope all of you are understanding. If you are unable to understand, try to ping me in the chat. Okay, in our application there is a provision like chat, so try to use that and ping me with your doubts. Next, activity 3. So what is activity 3? It is also very simple. Again you have to consider a conical flask. Conical flask. Yeah. So this is a conical flask you have to consider, and try to put some dilute HCl. See, HCl, what do you mean by dilute HCl? You would have encountered this for the first time. HCl is nothing but hydrochloric acid. Remember, hydrochloric acid, or else hydrogen chloride, you can say. It's a type of acid. See, acids would be very much concentrated. You know, as soon as you put your hand, it can peel off your skin, it can corrode your bones also. But it must not be that much concentrated. It must be diluted with the help of some water. And actually hydrogen chloride original state is gas, but in order to make it react with the other compounds, we will get this gas into aqueous state. So while writing the reactions of while writing chemical equations of the reactions, we will mention HCl and the HCl in the aqueous state. When it is in the aqueous state, it will be in a position to react with the other compounds. So HCl is nothing but hydrochloric acid. Try to write while I am writing. If you are unable to write at my pace, try to pause the video and write it, okay? But writing is very important, don't forget. After giving this hydrogen chloride in the conical flask, try to put some zinc granules. What are we going to put? This is HCl, which is diluted HCl. At the same time, I am giving zinc granules. So these zinc granules, they'll start reacting with HCl. So that reaction I'm going to write. Zinc is appearing in the solid state itself. HCl, aqueous, zinc in a solid state. Now we shall see what is liberated out. When this HCl and zinc is reacted, immediately there will be some bubble formation within this acid. You can see some bubbles are getting formed. Bubbles gets formed. So whenever the bubbles are formed within the liquid solution, then you can say clearly that there is liberation of some gas. So we have to check which gas is being evolved in this particular reaction. So let us check it with the help of a matchstick, burning matchstick or burning candle. You can put a burning matchstick at the mouth of this conical flask, at the brim of this conical flask. When you put a burning matchstick, it will get put off by pop sound. There will be a sound which will be made while putting off this particular flame, burning flame on the matchstick. If there is no pop sound, let us suppose, we shall see different cases. No pop sound, but flame was off. Glowing brightly. So these are the three different cases when the matchstick was put at the mouth of conical flask. What are these three different cases indicating us? Pop sound, when the flame was put off with the help with making a pop sound, then remember it's a H2 gas which is liberated. If there is no pop sound but the flame was put off, that is CO2. Remember, the red color cylinders which you see in hospitals or else in any taxi cabs, in any educational institutions, there will be cylinders which are put in red color cylinder. I mean, there are cylinders which are in red color. Okay, those cylinders which are in red color indicates that it's carrying CO2 which can put off flame. Now glowing brightly indicates the gas liberated was oxygen. So three different cases, but here the flame was put off with a pop sound, so you can conclude that the gas released was H2. Remember, when anything is liberated out, previously if anything gets settled down in the conical flask, we have indicated such kind of compounds as precipitate. Now the gas is getting liberated out, it's not getting settled down here, it's getting liberated, it's coming out of the conical flask. Then you will be indicating it with an upward arrow, that is H2 gas. Now I am going to write one more compound, that is ZnCl2, which exists in the dissolved state in this solution. When the reaction happens, H2 goes away and ZnCl2 will remain in this solution itself, that is ZnCl2. Here you can write 2HCl in order to make the reaction balanced. This is also aqueous state, because it's in the dissolved state, in the liquid state. So ZnCl2 is basically a salt. Okay, it's in the dissolved state, that is why I'm writing it as aqueous. H2 is basically a gas. So you would be indicating these states, physical states of the compounds. If you are indicating AQ, that is aqueous. If you are indicating S, that is solid. If you are indicating with G, that is gas. All these are indicated. These are nothing but physical states of the compounds. What do you say these? Physical states. There might be a question framed in your examination stating, they will give you a equation and they'll ask you to write the physical states of the compound in that particular reaction. If you have any idea of the reaction, then only you can say this. So one thing you have observed here, there is liberation of the gas and you can interpret based upon the behavior of the flame. How does the flame behave indicates the gas liberated out. Second to that, if you see here, only chlorine got displaced from here and gets attached with zinc. If you see, chlorine has moved, I mean it got detached with hydrogen and attached with zinc, so only one compound is getting displaced, then such kind of reactions are called as displacement reaction. Such kind of reactions are called as displacement reaction. So first thing is based upon the flame behavior, you can say which gas is liberated. Second, which type of reaction is it, whether it is displacement, double displacement, combination, decomposition. There are 4 types, right? So among that, this is displacement reaction because only one radical got displaced, and you have learned what are physical states. Now one more important thing, after performing this particular activity, after the reaction has taken place, if you touch the beaker, you will feel the hotness, same as in the first activity. You will feel the hotness in this particular activity even. So here also the reaction which is happening, it is nothing but exothermic reaction. Remember, it is also exothermic reaction. So all in all, we have derived four important things from this. One, it is type of gas liberated, type of reaction, what are the different types of physical states, and fourth one, it is an exothermic reaction. So we have discussed examples for combination, double displacement, and I am going to say one more example for one type of reaction. This is not mentioned in your textbook, whereas it is mentioned in CBSE textbook, NCERT textbook. Decomposition reaction. There are different types of decomposition reaction. As decomposition itself says that breaking down the compound into two or more compounds. A single compound will be broken down into two or more compounds. Such kind of reaction is nothing but a decomposition reaction. Here decomposition reactions are also they also have different types: thermal decomposition, electrolysis process, photolysis process, photo decomposition. Like that, there are different types of decomposition reaction. One of those decomposition reactions, thermal decomposition, I am going to say you, by providing heat energy, you will decompose a compound into different compounds. See, if you see CaCO3, calcium carbonate, it will be broken down into calcium oxide, at the same time carbon dioxide. By providing heat energy, you are decomposing calcium carbonate into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. This is example for decomposition reaction. As we are using heat energy, you are giving this delta symbol. Delta symbol indicates that you are heating the entire setup for reaction to happen. That is decomposition reaction. It's a thermal decomposition reaction because you are using heat energy. So I have explained you examples for various types of reaction. One, it is addition or else combination. Next, it is decomposition. And activity 3 we have discussed what is displacement. In activity 2 we have discussed double displacement. So with this I am going to conclude different types of reactions. There are different possibilities with different physical states. All these we have learned in these 3 activities along with this last example. So I am concluding the class for today in physical sciences. Tomorrow we are going to discuss how to balance the chemical reactions. Just before, if you have remembered, I have written 2 HCl plus Zn giving rise to ZnCl2 plus H2. After all the reaction I have written, I have placed the 2 in front of HCl in order to make this reaction balanced. So this kind of balancing of the chemical reactions we are going to discuss in the next session. That's all for today. Bye bye.